Just after midnight, Terminal 5 settled into quiet routine that follows the arrival of the day's final flights. Travelers disappeared into parking garages, taxi queues, and airport hotels, while cleaning crews moved through nearly empty concourses. Security officers conducted their final sweeps of one of Europe's busiest international airports, where every movement was monitored and recorded. At 12:17 a.m., Security Officer Daniel Mercer noticed a lone traveler sitting near Gate 54. The passenger appeared calm, carrying only a small bag. At 12:28 a.m., the traveler stood and began walking to the terminal. Surveillance cameras tracked every step. At 12:41 a.m., the passenger exited to the main doors, becoming the final recorded traveler to leave Terminal 5 that night. Nothing about the departure seemed unusual, yet within hours, investigators would become obsessed with that final passenger. The following morning, airport operations received an inquiry regarding a discrepancy tied to a passenger itinerary from the previous evening. Officials initially assumed it was a routine administrative error. However, records showed that a traveler who should have arrived at a connecting destination had no confirmed arrival record. Investigators reviewed manifests, surveillance footage, and transportation records. The evidence did not align. Some systems suggested the traveler continued the journey, while others implied the journey ended at the airport. Witnesses further complicated matters. A shuttle driver claimed to have transported the passenger away from the terminal, while a hotel employee believed the traveler checked into a nearby property. Neither account could be verified. As investigators examined the timeline, they discovered unexplained gaps and conflicting records. What appeared to be a simple discrepancy began to resemble something far more troubling. A formal investigation soon involved airport security investigators, airline specialists, digital forensics analysts, journalists, and law enforcement officials. Surveillance footage was reviewed frame by frame. Access control logs, passenger manifests, transportation databases, and mobile device records were analyzed. The traveler appeared to move normally through the airport, yet subtle anomalies emerged. The passenger was repeatedly seen near operational areas of the terminal. Journalists uncovered reports describing temporary surveillance outages during the same overnight period. Digital forensics experts found duplicate timestamps and missing verification records inside archived access logs. These inconsistencies suggested that different airport systems were recording conflicting versions of events. As the investigation expanded, a retired administrator revealed the existence of a forgotten internal report. The report dated back nearly a decade and documented another unexplained incident inside Terminal 5. In that case, a traveler had seemingly vanished from the airport's digital timeline. Some records existed while others were missing. Witness accounts conflicted. Documentation was incomplete, and the investigation was quietly closed. The similarities between the two cases were striking. Both occurred during late-night operations. Both involved conflicting digital records. Both centered on travelers whose movements became difficult to verify after leaving the terminal. Archived emails referenced unresolved software issues, while maintenance logs described intermittent synchronization failures between airport systems. Investigators began to suspect that the mystery surrounding the final passenger might be connected to long-standing operational problems that had never been fully addressed. Yet evidence continued to suggest that the traveler had genuinely left the airport, raising a crucial question. If the systems were responsible for confusion, why did so much evidence point toward movements beyond the terminal? After years of investigation, authorities assembled the most likely explanation. Surveillance footage confirmed that the passenger left Terminal 5 at 12:41 a.m. Witnesses supported the departure, and digital traces suggested the traveler continued beyond airport property. However, investigators concluded that fragmented records, synchronization failures, and conflicting witness testimony distorted the timeline almost immediately afterward. Several assumptions proved incorrect. The passenger was never conclusively confirmed as missing, and identity concerns appear to stem from database inconsistencies. Nevertheless, major questions remained unanswered. One theory suggested that a chain of procedural failures created a misleading timeline. Another proposed that the passenger became unintentionally linked to an unrelated event occurring simultaneously. A third argued that critical evidence was overlooked during the earliest stages of the inquiry. A fourth maintained that important records remain missing, preventing a complete explanation. Eventually, law enforcement officials close the active investigation, but debate continues among experts. The final surveillance footage remains at the center of the mystery. It shows the traveler walking calmly through the terminal, passing closed shops and empty gates before reaching the exit. The doors open. The passenger disappears from view. The corridor empties. The terminal closes. Years later, investigators still disagree about what happened after that moment. Every airport records thousands of journeys, yet this traveler became memorable not because of where they went, but because of the questions they left behind.